If you've ever asked yourself, how can I get the swing and the golf game that I've always imagined without trying every tip, every training aid, watching every video after video on social media, then this podcast is for you. Welcome. I'm Daniel Guest, and welcome to the Imagen Golf Podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Imagen Golf and PXG. All right, today is for Friday, and I'm hitting into you again. I am hitting the ball pretty well, not going left to right. It's curving a little bit right to left without crossing the line. It's a nice little baby draw, and if I get my distances right, then I'd be playing some pretty good golf. But that's another story. So look, today is when we give you a tip, a tool, a strategy, something that you can use and take with you to the golf course today, right away, without changing your swing or anything like that. And we do that in 4 minutes or less, starting now. So today's title is simple. Look, it's the only perfect lie you get, unquote. And that only perfect lie you get is on the tee box on the tee, right? And I know what you're thinking. No, Daniel, in the middle of the fairway is a perfect lie. No, look, I get it, right? But for the 100 percentile, right? The only perfect lie you're ever really truly going to get is when in fact it's on a tee, right? So I was doing a bunch of playing lessons this week, and as a company, we're trying to do a lot more. It's a very impactful lesson. So I'm doing these playing lessons, and 3 students right in a row, immediately 3, bang, 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 um, aren't teeing the ball up at all on the tee box. And, I don't in our playing lessons in the beginning, we're just watching, right? We're observing, I should say, right? And we're making notes and I'm taking videos and all that. And without exception, all 3 are taking a divot, right? And they're taking a divot and the ball's going, not horribly bad, but not fantastic. And when I asked all 3 of them, hey, it's a par 3, it's 150 yards. Why don't you just put that on a tee and hit your 9-iron instead of your 8-iron, or excuse me, hit your 9-iron instead of your 8-iron, right? And all 3 of them said the same thing. They said, "Oh, you know what? I don't use a tee." I said, "Well, I know that, right? I can see that, but tell me more about that. Why don't you, use a tee, right? 'Cause it absolutely drives me crazy, right?" And the answers were all over the place, right? Oh, you know what? I get better contact. Oh, it's cheating. One guy said. I'm like, cheating? No, it's not. Oh, I feel, feels feminine. I mean, I'm like, what are you talking about, right? It doesn't matter if it's a par 3, par 4, par 5. If it was your driver, you'd put it on a tee every time, right? So I want you to just stop it, right? Get that ball on a tee, even if it's just an eighth of an inch off the ground, right? Because you'll hit the ball better, right? There's no one that hits the ball better on the ground than off a tee. No one. Just think of it this way. Look, Jack Nicklaus himself said, air offers less resistance than dirt, unquote, right? Let me say that again. Air offers less resistance than dirt. So, and he also famously said if he could tee up the ball every single time in a round, he would, right? It makes the game easier, and he's the GOAT, man. So, look, if it was good enough for Jack Nicklaus to understand that, then why is Jack Doe, right, not doing it, right? It makes no sense. I don't. This is one of those podcasts and one of those topics where I don't even really care what the student's opinion is. It doesn't make sense, right? No, let me repeat this. No one hits better shots, right, on a tee box off the grass than they would on a tee. No one, right? So why would you do it, right? You have the opportunity to give yourself, as the title says, the perfect lie, right? Golf's the only sport where you could take ball in hand, and put it down exactly where you want it and tee it up exactly where you need it and all that stuff, right? So take an advantage of it, right? Don't let your ego get in the way, right? I know what, I went through that stage myself where I just put it on the ground and hit it. But look, the older I got, the more knowledgeable I got, the better I got at golf, the more I realized, hey man, I gotta get this ball on a tee. Look, man, it'll produce a better, crisper shot. It'll produce more spin. I could go on, it'll go farther. I can go on and on. By the way, and you can vary the tee height to vary the shot. You can't do that on the ground so much, right? So, and by the way, another thing, Tiger, Rory, Phil, they all use tees, right, on every single tee box. Bryson, right? They all use tees. Not a single one of them drops it on the ground and hits it, right? So again, just when you say that out loud, that's enough. All right. Now I get it. You got to still have strategy, all that. So we're not even talking about that. We did that before, right? But you need to tee up the golf ball. All right, whenever you can. Point paragraph. So take this to the course today, right? Or the next time you play, right? Never, ever, never, ever, never hit off the dirt or the grass on a tee. It should be dirt, right? But on a tee box, right? Doesn't matter if it's a wedge, a driver, whatever, you get the point, right? If you want a little tip, right? Wherever the trouble is, right? Tee up on that side as a general rule of thumb. So if there's water on the right, tee up on the right side and hit away from the trouble with the tee, right? Um, and move that tee placement, right? Maybe put the tee in the ground, then the ball, and then step back a little bit and make sure that you have a strategy. And again, that's a whole nother, podcast, if you would. But I guarantee you, if you'll put the ball on the tee where it belongs, right? You will get a better swing and better game than you've ever imagined. So do it. Thanks for listening. All right, then. That's today's podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Hit the follow button wherever you get your podcasts, and be sure to check out our site, imagengolf.com. Check out our YouTube page at Imagen Golf, and we're on all the social media platforms. I'm the same at Imagen Golf. And here's to getting you the swing and the game that you've always imagined. Hey guys, it's Daniel here. Hey, thanks for listening first and foremost. Handicaps haven't changed in over 35 years for one reason and one reason only. Traditional golf instruction just doesn't work. So if you're serious about getting that swing and game that you've always imagined, take a look at our site, imagengolf.com. Join our members only club. Check out my video series, or even take a virtual or in-person lesson with me. There is no one who's more passionate about making you better in the industry, and I guarantee you'll golf better, guaranteed, or everything is free.